Hello, everyone. Welcome back to U.S. Policy Brief. Here in March 2026, a lot of immigrants and families are watching the news closely because immigration is being talked about constantly. Reform, enforcement, deportations, executive actions, and system overhauls. But if you're actually living through the immigration process right now, this isn't just politics. This is real life. It's families waiting on visas that still haven't moved. It's workers trying to keep jobs while work permits are delayed or shortened. It's green card applicants stuck in backlogs that feel endless. And it's people asking the most personal question of all. What does all of this actually mean for my case, my future, and my family? In today's video, we're going to talk clearly and directly about what is happening right now, what is changing, what still isn't fixed, and why so many people across the system feel like they're still waiting for real answers. If you want updates like this as they happen, subscribe, hit the bell, and like the video so you don't miss the next bulletin. Now let's get into it. If you've been waiting on USCIS, the National Visa Center, a consular interview, a work permit renewal, or a green card decision, you already know the hardest part isn't only the law. It's the uncertainty. It's the silence between updates. It's watching big headlines roll in while your own case doesn't move. And that is exactly why this moment matters. The administration is clearly reshaping immigration policy in 2026, but what we're seeing is not one clean reform package that fixes the system from top to bottom. What we're seeing instead looks like a combination of tougher enforcement, tighter screening, targeted restrictions, fee changes, and select rule updates, while the underlying backlog machinery remains in place for many legal pathways. That is the first truth people need to hear. Many immigrants were hoping for reforms that would directly improve legal processing, shorter timelines, fewer family separations, faster green card movement, and more stability for work permits. But when you look at the direction of recent official messaging and policy actions, the emphasis has been much heavier on enforcement and screening than on broad relief for legal backlogs. And for families waiting legally, that creates a painful contradiction. The government can move fast in enforcement-related areas, but the benefits system, family petitions, adjustment cases, EAD renewals, consular scheduling, still feels slow, fragmented, and unpredictable. That's why so many people feel the system is still broken. Enforcement is moving fast, but benefits processing still moves slow. One of the biggest concerns people have is deportations and enforcement activity. DHS messaging in 2026 has been clear. Immigration enforcement is no longer operating quietly in the background. It is central to the administration's public posture. But at the same time, processing relief for people pursuing legal pathways has not moved with the same force. That gap, fast enforcement, slow benefits, is what many immigrants feel in their daily lives. Because even if the political message is order, the legal immigration system still operates through the same bottlenecks. USCIS processing time variation by form and field office. Visa bulletin limits and retrogression for quota-based categories. National Visa Center document completion rules. Consular capacity and interview scheduling realities. In other words, the core mechanics driving delay are still very much alive. If your category depends on the visa bulletin, no headline can erase the quota structure overnight. If you're waiting abroad, even an I-130 approval is often only one step. The interview timeline still depends on NVC completion and post-scheduling. Work permits in 2026. Stability is a bigger issue than many expected. Another major pressure point in 2026 is work authorization. Many immigrants are reporting that work permit timing feels more stressful than before, because validity periods, extensions, and renewal logistics can vary by category and policy updates. USCIS has expanded premium processing to certain benefits over time, but it does not apply universally. Many EAD categories still do not have a fast lane, and even where premium processing exists, it's often expensive and limited to specific forms. Also, USCIS has made changes in recent years to how it handles EAD validity and extension policies for some categories. The details vary by category and effective date, and the most important point is this. If you rely on an EAD to keep a job, you need to track your expiration earlier than you used to. Verify whether your category qualifies for any automatic extension, and follow USCIS announcements closely. Screening and vetting. More friction, even in legal cases. Another clear direction in 2026 is stronger screening and integrity messaging. USCIS has emphasized more vetting in certain employment and benefit categories, and CBP has continued increasing data-driven screening at ports of entry. Supporters argue this protects the system. Critics argue it adds friction and delays. But either way, the practical effect for applicants is often more scrutiny, more document requests, and a higher chance of RFEs, especially if something is inconsistent in your record. This matters because many people think legal immigration means simple. In reality, even lawful cases can become stressful when scrutiny rises and the system is overloaded. Country restrictions and humanitarian policy signals. In addition to internal enforcement and vetting, the administration has also used executive authority in areas that can affect who can enter and under what rules, especially relating to specific countries, certain visa classifications, and humanitarian programs. This matters most for families who are already waiting abroad, because executive restrictions can add uncertainty even when a petition is otherwise approvable. Refugee policy direction has also been a major signal of broader priorities. Targeted changes exist, but they aren't a full repair of the legal pipeline. To be fair, there are also operational and rule changes in certain areas, H-1B selection rules, seasonal worker allocations, and other targeted administrative moves, but these are not the same as a sweeping fix to family preference backlogs, employment-based retrogression, NVC and consular scheduling bottlenecks, across-the-board work permit stability. So when you hear the word reform in 2026, understand that many updates are selective, not a universal repair of the system. What this means in plain language here is the clearest way to summarize the reality for many immigrants in 2026. Immigration is moving in two directions at once. One direction moves fast, enforcement messaging, screening intensity, executive restrictions, and tightening priorities. The other direction moves slow, USCIS backlogs, visa bulletin limits, NVC queues, consular capacity, and uneven processing timelines. That gap is exactly why so many immigrants feel that reform has not reached them personally. What you should watch right now, the practical checklist. If you want the most practical focus points for your own case, watch these. USCIS processing times for your exact form and field office. The visa bulletin, if your category is quota-based. Whether your NVC case is documentarily complete, if processing abroad. Your EAD expiration date much earlier than before. Policy updates on screening, entry rules, and category eligibility, because those are the areas where changes can come quickly. If you're waiting on a green card, visa, or work permit, you don't need another slogan. You need clarity on what is changing in your specific lane of the system. That's all we have for this bulletin. Here at US Policy Brief, we cover US immigration processing steps, form requirements, processing trends, fees, and real-world impacts across visitor visas, B1, B2, work visas, H-1B, L1, student visas, green cards, and immigrant visa categories, EB1 through EB5, and family-based. If you haven't already, subscribe to US Policy Brief and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.